Hi there, I'm Amanda Cromhote from Truth. Welcome to the Blind Loyalty Challenge. We interview world experts in loyalty blindly. We're hoping to create insight, spontaneity, and a lot of fun through the challenge. The challenge is about promoting the blind loyalty trust, and my book called Blind Loyalty, 101 Loyalty Concepts Radically Simplified. All profits from the book go towards the trust. We hope you enjoy the Blind Loyalty Challenge. When you get the chance to chat to someone at Virgin Active, you jump at it. And I think the word jump is something they would celebrate to keep us active. So today I'm chatting to Kia Abbott. She is Chief of Customer Value, which in its own right is the most awesome title of Virgin Active Group. So Kia, you were tagged by Rendani Mauda from ABSA Rewards. So you can blame him why we're sitting here today.
That's funny. He is one of our members, and he contacted me a couple of weeks ago about one of his vouchers that he needed help using. So I think that was maybe why we were top of mind.
Well, at least he's using your vouchers. That's a positive thing, right?
Yeah, it's perfect.
Oh, I love it. Loyalty professionals helping each other in the industry. What it's about. Okay, so I'm going to jump straight in for the first question, which I think is way too easy, but it's very strategic. So, chapter 98 of Blind Loyalty is all about retention. And I actually quote Virgin Active Rewards because when I wrote Blind Loyalty, Virgin Active Rewards had just launched. So, and I've also had the privilege of interviewing Dean, your group CEO, on Let's Talk Loyalty. So, I've had a bit of insight from his interview a few months back or even last year. So, in your opinion, can a loyalty program really reverse churn?
I think the question on churn is, it goes way beyond what a loyalty program can do. It's around the relationship between the member and the business and the value that that business offers to member, kind of linking back to my slightly odd title. And a rewards program can help to make that value more explicit and to help link what is kind of intrinsic value back to the member. And in our world, the intrinsic value of our business is helping people achieve their wellness goals, which is something that's hard to do, right? And if we could make it easy for people to do that, and when their alarm goes off at 5 a.m. and it's raining outside, then they will naturally stay our members for life. If you're meeting your goals and you're getting the value, then you are retained. And the rewards program can just make that link between that intrinsic value and the behavior simpler by introducing kind of more immediacy, more intrinsic rewards. But if the fundamentals aren't there, there's nothing a rewards program can do to compensate for a deficiency in value at the core of the proposition.
Oh, well, I love your answer because one of my opening chapters in Blind Loyalty is about exactly that, about a loyalty program has its role as a mechanic, but it alone is not customer loyalty.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
you've said it beautifully. So thank you. And you weren't even prompted behind the scenes. So chapter 96 of Blind Loyalty talks about emotional loyalty. Now, you work for the most awesome brand. So a brand like Virgin or Virgin Active creates an emotional response. So what is your own definition of emotional loyalty?
Um, I think for me, it's really about understanding what a member needs and responding to those needs. And things like personalization and communication are all part of creating that emotional connection. But it really starts by really thinking deeply about, on that morning when one of our members decided that this was the day that they were going to sign up and join Virgin Active, there was a deep emotional need that prompted them to make that decision and to make the commitment to subscribing to this business. And we are there to try and make sure that that deep need is kind of manifesting in how we talk to them when they're in our clubs, how we communicating with them on our digital channels, and how we use things like our rewards program to kind of reinforce that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So my last question, I think, will be to the heart of your strengths. I mean, we've had the pleasure of working together for a few years back in different brands. So chapter 94 is about loyalty KPIs, and I know you're very analytical and strategic. So what do you think is the most impactful loyalty KPI?
Um, Honestly, the kind of holy grail for me is around uplift and measuring an event or a behavior that wouldn't have happened otherwise. And it's the hardest thing in the world to do because you've got to measure it against a kind of null opposite. And, often in things like in the kind of vanity metrics, it's easy to measure because they are so apparent. But when you look at something like retention, you have to assume that a member didn't leave. And how do you measure something that didn't happen? And how do you measure something that if you hadn't intervened, it would have happened? And so, really having some robustness in your data and in your analytics around control groups and A/B testing can start to kind of tease out questions around uplift. And as a business, that's what you're investing in. Is creating behavior and creating events that wouldn't have happened if not for that intervention. So it's not an easy thing to measure. It's not an easy thing to put on a dashboard. But when you really ask me if something is working, that's what I want to know.
Yeah, and I think the number of discussions you've had in your career and the number of discussions I have every day with different clients is around how do you measure that real incremental uplift.
Yeah.
So we look forward to you sharing whenever you get the stage on Virgin Active, any of those critical little nuggets of information. So
Yeah.
wonderful. Well, thanks, Kia. You've sailed through it. I can see you've got a beautiful swimming pool in the background there, so you can go and relax now in in the sauna or something. Tell me, who would you like to tag for me to interview on Blind Loyalty Challenge?
I want to nominate Fiona Ronnie from TFG. She and I worked together previously, and I think she'll have some really interesting insights into customer.
Incredible. Well, Fiona and I are certainly not strangers to each other, so we've got a lot of things to talk about. So that's an awesome recommendation. Thank you
Brilliant.
so much, Kia. You've absolutely sailed through, as I said, the Blind Loyalty Challenge.
Thanks so much. Nice to chat to you, Amanda.